When we are talking about social media, we're talking about impressions, we're talking about number of views. No one's talking about, the mental health perspective of it.
So in social media language, it's fear of missing out. And the impact it had on me is I could not be present in the moment wherever I was present. As it said, too much information is also harmful.
It actually creates a sense of disaccomplishment as to maybe I am lacking somewhere, or these things need to be done. I need to sort my life out.
There are enough influencers who actually chose to make their personal life public, because of which they are facing challenges in their personal relationship.
Mental health crisis has engulfed youth across the world, and social media has got a big role to play in it. Fear of missing out, feeling of inadequacy, comparison, insecurity. I'm just talking about the tip of the iceberg. But what do students feel about this necessary evil? Do they think it's a sunshine, or do they think that it's absolutely required in today's day and age? My name is Abhinav Trivedi, and we are at IMT Ghaziabad in this special edition of Alt View. Let's go and talk to some students and understand their Alt View, their perspective on social media and its connection with mental health. Let's go. Okay, hello IMT Ghaziabad. Hello. Yeah, that's a hi. Now, how much time does each one of you, on an average, spend on social media? 5 hours a day. 4 hours.
Around 5 hours a day.
1.5 to 2 hours. 3.5. And which is the most used app or a website, social media website, किस पे सबसे ज़्यादा time spend होता है? Instagram. And what do you guys essentially do on these apps? क्या देखते हो? Reels? Is it content? Is it motivation? What do you guys look for? Mainly Reels.
Content. There are different kinds of content that goes about. Depends upon the interest.
So basically, I would say memes, content, some news as well. Okay. When you visit Instagram or when you're there for maybe an hour, after you close the app, what's your feeling?
I kind of make that reel, the content that is consumed, as a benchmark and compare it with how I am dealing with things on my own. So it actually creates a sense of disaccomplishment as to maybe I am lacking somewhere, or these things need to be done. I need to sort my life out, because the people that I tend to see, they have their life sorted out in a lot of ways. And I might not have all the things placed at the right places at the right moments.
When I was around 17 or 16 years old, when Instagram was around, it was new at that time. But still, I had friends who were judging people on the basis of their followers. So the number of followers you had was the metric for your popularity. Now that also plays a big role in your mental health, so you get into a race to increase your followers, increase engagements, and that I believe is not good for your mental health.
Initially, when I used to use social media a lot, the moment I closed the app, I would look for a reason to reopen it. And I mean, that is the way it is designed. The notification bell, the color of the notification is all designed in a way for you to use the application more. And instant gratification is what we seek, and that dopamine rise when you get a notification is what these social media apps capitalize on.
I am fond of using Instagram and LinkedIn, and of course there are other apps, Facebook. So whenever I close one app, for example I have closed Facebook, then I look for, oh, have I left something on Instagram? Then I open Instagram. Oh, have I left something on... Then I open LinkedIn. So that's how it's a circle of social media apps going around, and that's how I see myself whenever I close an app.
When I talk about mental health and social media, do you think both of them are related? If no, why? If yes, why?
People get FOMO, like we have heard that they see other people enjoying their life and they're stuck in an office, in a cubicle, but they see their friends and enjoying their life and still earning a lot of them. So social media is a platform where people share these things, and it affects mental health.
Several other psychological implications also. We've seen that with the consumption of short form of content, there has also been a significant reduction in the attention span of an individual. Otherwise, also social media affects self-concept and how a person sees himself or herself. And there's also constant pressure on the person to look a certain way to his or her audience.
The emergence of influencers, we have somehow subdued our own opinions, and our opinions are actually made out of information overload provided to us by an algorithm. So that actually makes us believe things which we might actually not believe if we think them through. That adds an external pressure to believe something that you might not actually be, or to be something you might not actually are.
Fair point.
So that
Fair point, yeah.
I think it's the consumption of the social media and the way we conduct ourselves about it, not the social media in itself. For instance, if we keep scrolling through the reels and memes throughout the day, of course it's going to affect us. But if we use it properly for our own benefit and for the benefit of the things we are doing, it's an incredibly useful tool.
Have you guys come across a phase or any app where you think in a certain way and you feel that the app which you're opening is feeding that thought, is not getting you evolved, but is denigrating you day by day? Is there a way to maneuver through it?
Constantly, after 1 month, I delete all of my cookies, all of the history, and I try to rewatch everything, like make a new pattern of the things which I watch.
I was constantly bombarded with the negativity around COVID and its negative impacts on the people in the society as a whole. The only way that I could get out of it was by hiding those sort of content or reporting that I am not interested in those sort of content. And then also putting on notifications of my screen time on particular apps. This helped me actually get out of that zone wherein I was constantly hooked to the trauma that was all around.
I focus on only following specific accounts, and even on LinkedIn as well, I focus on only like following more and more people of my domain, so that even if I'm spending 1.5 or 2 hours and I'm seeing short form content, I'm still not feeling that sense of like brain drain that happens at the end.
I think your family, the kind of friends that you keep, play an important role in sort of developing your mindset towards these things. And I think it's a bit ironical to sort of talk to B school students about being prudent with social media, because how many of us do actually have Meta, Instagram as our dream companies? Our jobs would be to increase engagement. When we are talking about social media, we're talking about impressions, we're talking about number of views. No one's talking about, you know, the mental health perspective of it.
Now, what these people mentioned about the positive use of social media and the impact on mental health, that requires a certain level of awareness, okay, that social media might pollute us. Do you think largely, we spoke about other subjects, but do you think social media needs to be regulated so that it does not affect mental health?
In my opinion, we actually have the power, how much impact we want to have, let it have on us. So, for example, we just mentioned Instagram. There are enough influencers who actually chose to make their personal life public, because of which they are facing challenges in their personal relationship. So, it's up to them how much they want to show to the public and the impacts that is going to be there because of this. So, it's always, it's on us how much we let it impact us because of the relationships that are hampered.
I think even if the regulations are there, at the end of the day, it totally depends on us whether we are using that regulation or not. We can easily bypass those regulations, and there are many countries where social media is banned, but yet they are using it.
If we consider the smaller age group, like mainly the teenagers, they are in their years where their brain is developing and they don't know where to stop. So the limitations or the regulations should be there for the age group which is below 18.
Now, I'll ask you to quote one personal instance from your life, okay, or from your lives, where social media or the usage of it has negatively affected you, or any case you know.
During COVID, I started an Instagram blog. So just because I was handling it alone, I had this constant pressure to make sure that I have enough engagement on my page. So for that, I have to be really active on my page, engage with other Instagram pages and etc. if I want to get that organic reach. So that was that one phase of my life which where I was impacted because of the social media and the pressure that comes along if you are influencer or you want to have enough publicity.
Back to small Tony Starks that light in small screens, whom we call influencers. So they showed us a life wherein they are going to valleys in their super sport bikes and riding, making wheelies, because they were experts and they could do that. But those contents have triggered young minds actually to, you know, take up high-end bikes, and that have led to a few accidents that I've seen myself.
I don't know how many of us know here, but the largest YouTube channel that earns revenue is a child reviewing toys. So if a child is reviewing toys on YouTube, its consumer of of that content is a child. Now that child is able to afford those expensive toys, review them and put them aside. Now if children view that, I have seen children like fighting with their parents to get those expensive toys, which is not exclusively possible for everybody. This is a very small example, but the impact it has on that large child base and their parents, it is very drastic.
Earlier I used to write on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn being a professional platform, I used to think that even if I not deliver the content on time, it will not be a great problem, or even if there isn't much recognition. But earlier, after a point when I started to write and I got a decent number of views, I actually craved the recognition about whatever I try to write on LinkedIn. That kind of started to affect me mentally, and later on I actually then overcome whatever.
One of the most prevalent problems that I have observed in myself and in my friends as well is FOMO in social media.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah. So in social media language, it's fear of missing out. And the impact it had on me is I could not be present in the moment wherever I was present. As it said, too much information is also harmful.
And for how long did this phase prevail? Or is it still prevailing?
It can never be completely out of my system, but I am definitely working on it. And it started 2 years back or so.
Okay. Can you give me some examples from your lives where, social media has been properly used, something has been done? Because mental health cases are rising as we speak. Number of suicides, especially young suicides, are rising. There are influencers on Instagram who give you advices on how to avoid cardiac arrest in your 20s. Well, many of them are having them simultaneously as well.
I think social media has enabled a lot of conversations around mental health and mental illnesses. Initially, to some extent even today, while mental health issues are considered a taboo and there's a stigma attached to it, social media has enabled a lot of conversations. So in that way, it has affected the whole environment positively. Also, apps such as Mind Valley and several others, I can't recall the name from the top of my mind, but again, promotion of these on social media has enabled a lot of people who need these solutions to get access to them.
We just discussed that we are the main victims, but I don't think age is the main thing here, because from my personal experience, the gyan that is circulated on WhatsApp University is actually impacting our parents a lot, and even they feel the mental pressure because, for example, my mother is very active in her social group. So even she feels that so-and-so lady is doing so-and-so thing, so I also need to do that. If she's on Instagram, I also need to be on Instagram, and I should have so-and-so. Yeah, so that peer pressure is on all of us, not just our age group.
We think about the human mind, it needs constant feed. So if we cannot just get away with it, we have to channelize it and shift it to a different space where it is more productive. So what I think is, if we think about a small kid, he wants a TV show to eat something. If he's not shown a TV show, he will not eat. So maybe we'll have to shift it to somewhere else, like playing a game which is more productive and enhances his learning. That is how I think this can be, the problem can be solved.
Where do you see the future headed? Do you think social media needs a mandatory detox from everybody's life and we need to bring regulations there? Or, corporates need to behave more responsibly, which is also a very rare phenomenon?
So I feel Instagram, Meta and Facebook, all of these are marketing platforms. We should look at them as marketing platforms. Be it a rumor, be it a news story, be it a true story. If they get likes, if they get impressions, they're still earning money. So we have to change our perspective and believe that Instagram is not our true source of information. We should check multiple sources. And then moving forward, I feel that there'll be more regulations, like there are regulations on the finance influencers. People are not allowed to influence a lot of individuals and help them pick out stocks. That's again, and I feel there'll be more regulations coming forward.
So I guess it has already kicked in. For example, if you use YouTube after a particular time, it already gives you that it's past your bedtime. Do you still want to use the YouTube? So I guess the fair warnings like this will be more in the favor of the people who are using it. But of course, the government regulation will have to kick in.
There are no network zones on our planet, and I think that ideology that can be tapped by the corporates, managers, the corporates, they are becoming more sensitive towards the mental health of their managers. I think that idea that can be pushed by them.
I think realistically regulation becomes a bit obsolete when it comes to grown-ups. I think the future of social media is more dependent on how we sort of structure the interaction of a younger generation with social media. How the formative years are done is very important based on that, our future generation will interact with social media. I think that age, or that teenage 10 to 18, where you first are open to the world of social media, where you interact with it for the first time, how you handle that.
The last point which we can assume is that the younger generation is aware. They're on social media most of the time, but they're also aware of the ills, of the bad side of social media, of the dark side of social media. Going forward, what might work for them are not only government regulations, but individual spirit. This is all from this episode of All Fuel, ladies and gentlemen. I, along with my team, shall see you in the next episode with the next college. Shab Bakhair.